Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what we're going to be doing today is sort of like two videos incorporated into one. So the first half of the video will be a championship roundup of all the week 2 fixtures, guys, that have just taken place in the championship. And then the second part of the video will be my predictions for the midweek fixtures of the championship, guys. So what I want you guys to do is comment in the comments down below, what did you think of your team's performance this weekend, and also as well, what do you think your score predictions are for this week's midweek fixtures, guys. So as always, guys, I will leave in the description down below all the fixtures that are taking place this midweek. So I think teams are playing on Tuesday and Wednesday this week, so I'll leave all of them in the description down below, and make sure you get your comments in the comments down below. So on screen now, I will leave all the comments that you guys managed to get right. So if you did manage to correctly guess a scoreline this week, I'll put your comment on screen now. I think this week I only got one right. Last week I got one right, and this week I got one right as well. So we're doing all right. This week I think I got the Birmingham score right. It was Leeds 1, Birmingham 2 in the end. That's the only one I managed to predict. So fair play to anyone who did actually get a correct score. So the first game we have to talk about is, of course, Brighton versus Forest. This one managed to finish 3-0 to Brighton in the end. And I said in my preview to this and in my prediction video, I said that Brighton could expose Forest's faults at the back. And in the end, they did just that with 3 goals. Glenn Murray had an absolutely fantastic game. I actually watched this one because it was on Sky and it was on a Friday night. I decided to watch this, and Brighton looked very good. I think their whole midfield, you know, players like Kyle and Knockout look very good in their midfield. And to have Glenn Murray up front, he'll add obvious quality to the squad you've already got. And Brighton fans, I'd be interested to hear from a couple of Brighton fans today. How do you fancy your chances now going into this season? Do you think it'll be playoffs for you, maybe, or do you think you can go all the way for automatic this year? Be very interested to hear from some Brighton fans. And Nottingham Forest, I think honestly they just look lost without Britta Sombolonga. Obviously he wasn't fit for this match, so he couldn't play it. So Forest, I'm still not decided how I think Forest will do this season, really, because at one end I think when you got a Sombolonga fit and scrun, he will score goals for them, but at the back they really look like they need to improve, and quickly as well. The next game is then Aston Villa against Rotherham. So yet again another 3-0 scoreline, and Aston Villa managed to pick up their first win of the season and their first points of the season as well, with a convincing 3-0 win over Rotherham. I think the player that impressed me today was Rudy Gestert. I think the championship's his league, really. He showed it at Blackburn Rovers what he can do in the championship. Perhaps last season the Premier League in a team like Aston Villa was a step too far for him. However, in the championship I think Rudy Gestert will score a lot of goals. Add that to the goals that you're probably going to get from Ross McCormack and Ayew as well, included goals from midfield from players like Grealish. It could be a good season. However, saying that, there's still a looming doubt over Aston Villa on how they'll do this season, really. I think most of that will be down to inconsistency. So Aston Villa fans, how do you think you will do? Let me know in the comments down below. Then to the next game, guys, we have Barnsley against Derby. So this one was probably one of the shocks of the weekend, actually. Barnsley managed to beat Derby 2-0, and fair play to Barnsley. I think in this game Derby looked very shoddy, and Barnsley were able to pounce on that. I think Derby weren't helped because of course they had injuries in this match. They had Darren Bentgoff with an injury, and I think Hendrick went off with an injury as well. Obviously that didn't help them. However, saying that, Barnsley more than deserved the win. Despite them only having 39 possession, I think Barnsley did deserve the win in this match. And Derby, it's not been the greatest start to the season. Obviously Derby County are actually yet to score this season. Of course their first game of the season was a pretty tough one, going up against Brighton. This one though, I think they should have done a little bit better in this one, really. And the next game they have is actually against my team, Preston North End. So you'll see in a minute what my prediction is for that match. But Derby did not got off to the best start this season. The next game was then Brentford against Ipswich. This one managed to finish 2-0 to Brentford. So Brentford managing to bounce back from an opening day defeat to Huddersfield with a victory over Ipswich. And it was Egan who actually grabbed both goals for Brentford. He had a very impressive performance in this match. I think Ipswich fans will have gone home quite disappointed with this one, really, considering the promise they actually showed on the first day of the season, obviously with them scoring 4 goals, obviously Grant Ward getting a hat-trick. I think Ipswich fans will have probably expected more from this match. However, saying that, going away to Brentford's always going to be a tough tie. I think Brentford are a good side. I do think they'll do well this season. And how Ipswich will do, I think they'll be in and around mid-table this year. Then to the next game, we have Burton Albion against Bristol City. So this one finished 2-1 to Bristol City, and Bristol City have continued their fantastic start to the season with yet again another victory. So that's 6 points from 6 for Bristol City, a very encouraging start, and this was actually a last-minute winner, and very cruel actually on Burton Albion. It was Abraham who scored both goals for Bristol City. Obviously he is a loan signing to Bristol City. I think he'll be a fantastic addition to that squad, and he'll supplement the attacking quality they already have with players like Jonathan Jonathan Kodjia and Tomlin as well. Bristol City have got off to a fantastic start, and who knows, maybe they could actually be a dark horse this season. Burton Albion I thought were very unlucky in this match. I think they should again. They are capable of scoring goals in this league. It's just a case again of staying tight at the back, where I think Burton will probably struggle this year. Then to the next game, we have Leeds United against Birmingham. This one managed to finish 2-1 to Birmingham, and this was the only game of the weekend which I managed to correctly guess the score to. So I say it was going to be 2-1 to Birmingham, and in the end it was just that. I think it has to be said that Leeds showed a big improvement from their first day of the season when they got demolished by QPR away from home. However, saying that, I don't think they deserved anything from this match. I think Birmingham were deserved winners in the end. And I know that Gary Monk was especially disappointed with this, because I think in the first half Leeds actually played quite well in this match. However, in the second half they allowed their performance to slip, and Birmingham just pounced on that. So Birmingham is actually an interesting one as well. But Leeds United, I'd be interested to hear from some Leeds United fans, what do you think of your start of the season? Do you think you need to give Gary Monk more time to let these new signings settle in, or do you think you're still short of a couple of players here and there? Let me know in the comments down below. And then to probably the biggest shock of the weekend, guys, we have Newcastle 1, Huddersfield 2. And I know I keep saying it in every video, but I did say in my Championship predictions video that Huddersfield could be a dark horse this season, and they continue to show that. And fair play to Huddersfield, I've got to applaud them for going away to St James's Park and managing to pick up a 2-1 win. I think it'll be difficult for Newcastle this season, because I think a lot of teams will be going to St James's Park for the mentality not to lose and to sit back, defend, soak up the pressure. I think a lot of teams will go to St James's Park and be happy to get a draw. However, this wasn't the case for Huddersfield. You know, they came at Newcastle 4 times the match, and I think in the end they did well to get the win. You know, it finished 2-1 in the end, and I do think Newcastle really do need to bounce back now. If Newcastle were to lose yet again and to make it 3 defeats on the bounce, Rafa Benitez really will be put under pressure then, because they are the favourites for promotion this year, and rightly so. You know, if you look through their squad, they should be doing well in this league. However, saying that, I think a couple of them might have misjudged how tough this league could actually be for them. And then we have Preston against Fulham, guys. This one managed to finish 2-1 to Fulham in the end, of course. I am a Preston fan, so I was at this match watching. And honestly, I don't want to go into too much detail about this, because I did a whole separate video on Preston versus Fulham. Go check that out. It was a match day vlog. I gave basically my opinion on what I thought of the game, but I'll briefly go over it now. I thought Fulham were deserved winners in the end. Preston didn't deserve anything from the match. And overall, Preston really, they look very flat in most areas of the pitch. They look very narrow as well, and we really did lack pace or any attacking threat going forward. It really was disappointing, considering we had a midfield 3 consisting of Paul Gallagher, Ben Pringle and Daniel Johnson. So the fact that we couldn't create chances is a little bit worrying, and the fact that we got Derby in our next match as well, another concern for us. However, Fulham I thought were deserved winners in the end. I thought they were sharper than Preston, they were faster than Preston, but most importantly, they were a lot more clinical than Preston were. And in the end, that's what you get when you get 3 points. So of course, it has been a very good start to the season for Fulham. Obviously, them capitalising, they've currently got 6 points out of 6. And in my Championship predictions, I sort of wrote off Fulham. However, from their start of the season, they look to be going in the right direction. And then to the Lancashire derby at the weekend, guys, we have Wigan 3, Blackburn Rovers 0. So Blackburn Rovers are continuing their poor start to the season with another thrashing, and it really is disheartening to see this. And if I was a Blackburn fan, I'd probably be getting pretty worried by now, because in all honesty, when Owen Coyle did first get the job into Blackburn, I was very unsure of that appointment, and I actually think a lot of Blackburn fans didn't want him to come in the first place. So whether he's able to turn this Blackburn side around and turn them into like a mid-table team, which is what I think that current squad is capable of, it's yet to be seen. However, for Wigan, I thought it was a fantastic performance from them. They showed a lot of attacking intent, and they showed they are capable of competing in this league. Obviously, Will Grigg managed to get his first goal of the season, and Powell scored a fantastic free kick. Perhaps the Blackburn keeper could have done a little bit better than that, but to score 3 goals on the first home game of the season, you can't argue with that. Then to the next game, we have Wolves against Reading. Now, this one I was actually quite intrigued by, because Reading obviously beat Preston on the first day of the season, so I was keeping a close eye out on this result to actually see what happened. However, I was quite surprised actually when Wolves managed to win 2-1. The reason I say that is because they were excellent on the first day of the season, and they also did well on Tuesday night as well in the League Cup, I think. But in the end, Wolves were actually more than deserved winners in this match. Reading definitely didn't deserve to get anything. Despite them having 66% possession, Reading only had 1 shot on target, and you know, for all the possession you can have, it still shows it doesn't win matches for you. And Wolves more than deserved to win this match today, despite only having 34% possession. They had more shots, they had more corners, everything like that they were just dominating Reading on. And Reading really do need to bounce back, and it's a tough one for Reading next as well against Newcastle away from home. And then to the evening kickoff on Saturday, it was of course Norwich against Sheffield Wednesday. This one actually finished 0-0 in the end, so for all the attacking qualities that both these sides possess, they actually cancelled each other out in the end, and it finished 0-0. However, what the big talking point from this match was that Forestieri was not playing because of transfer speculation currently surrounding him. So I'd be very interested to hear from some Sheffield Wednesday fans. What do you think of the Forestieri situation? Do you think if it's a player like that wants to leave, would you be happy just to lose him now and reinvest the money into the team elsewhere? Or do you not think you'd be able to bring in another player of Forestieri's quality and you want to see him stay at the club? I'd be very interested to know. So Sheffield Wednesday fans, get commenting in the comments down below. But I am still in no doubt that both these sides, both Norwich and Sheffield Wednesday, will both be up at the top of the table come the end of the season. And then to the last game today, guys. This was of course played on Sunday. This one finished Cardiff 0, QPR 2. So quite a worrying start to the season for Cardiff, if I say so myself. They've had 3 games so far, one of them being in the cup, and they've actually yet to score. I think that more than anything says that Cardiff are in desperate need of a striker. However, saying they need a striker as well, they are actually not really creating many chances. In this match, they only had 1 shot on target. So for a home match going up against QPR, which really they should be evenly matched sides, to only have 1 shot on target is very disheartening. However, QPR really have impressed me so far. They managed to get yet another win, and in my championship predictions video, I was very unsure on QPR. I thought they'd struggle for goals this season. However, so far they've showed the complete opposite of that. They've managed to pick up 6 points from a possible 6, so fair play to all QPR fans. So now, guys, we will go on to my championship predictions for the midweek fixtures, guys. So for this week's fixtures, I'm not going to do FIFA predicts as it's only midweek. I'm only going to do the FIFA predictions for every Saturday game, but for this week's predictions, I'm going to go over them quickly now, guys. So I've got Aston Villa 1, Huddersfield 1. I think both these sides, I think Huddersfield obviously have done fantastic so far, picking out 6 points out of a possible 6. However, Villa are going into this one with a good form, obviously beating Rotherham 3-0. So I think they'll cancel each other out, and this one will finish 1-1. Brentford against Forest, I'm going for a 2-0 Brentford win. I think Forest's defensive frailties will be showed up again. I'm not sure if Assombalonga is back fit for this one. Let me know in the comments down below if he actually is. Brighton against Rotherham, I've gone for a 3-1 Brighton win. I think at home Brighton will be deadly this season and clinical in front of goal, so 3-1 to them. Burton against Sheffield Wednesday, I think Sheffield Wednesday will just win this one 1-2-0. Then we have Leeds against Fulham. I'm going to say Fulham are going to continue great form they have going at the moment, and I'm going to say that Fulham are going to beat Leeds 1-2-0. Then to Norwich against Bristol City, I think Norwich are going to win this one, really. I'm going to say it's going to be 2-1 to Norwich, despite the form that Bristol City have been in lately. I wouldn't be surprised if this one finished a draw. However, I just think Norwich will scrape this one. Then we have my team, Preston North End. I'm actually going to predict it's going to be a loss for Preston. I'm not feeling too confident going into this one. I'm going to predict it's going to be Derby 2, Preston 1. I'm not feeling too confident about this one, really. So Preston fans, let me know what you think of that in the comments down below. Then we have Wigan against Birmingham. I think this one's going to be a 1-1. I think both teams will cancel each other out. Then Wolves against Ipswich. I think it's going to be a 2-1 to Wolves. This one's a hard one to call, really, but I'm going to say Wolves are just about going to scrape this one. And then to the Wednesday kickoffs, I'm going to say the first one is Barnsley 2, QPR 2. I think both these sides possess a lot going forward, which is what they've shown so far this season. I think this one's going to end 2-2. Then we have Cardiff against Blackburn. I do actually fancy Cardiff to get their first goals of the season despite not scoring yet. So I'm going to say this one's going to be Cardiff 2, Blackburn 0. And then to the last game, we have Newcastle against Reading. Yet again, I'm going to say this is going to be another 2-0. I think Reading, I'm not really sure what team we're going to get, whether we're going to get the team that played against Preston or the side that played against Wolves. And I really do think Newcastle need to bounce back. So if Reading are actually able to beat Newcastle, that would be absolutely mad, and fair play to them if they do. Guys, now that will wrap it up for this video. So if you have enjoyed, make sure you do leave a like. It really does help me out. And as well, subscribe around here if you are new. We are currently closing in on 2,000 subscribers, which would just be absolutely mental if we do hit it, guys. So thank you so much for that, and your support on all my videos lately has been insane, so thank you so much for that. So like I said, guys, make sure you get all your comments in the comments down below of how your team played at the weekend, but also your predictions for this week's midweek fixtures. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you check out all the links in the description down below, and I'll see you all in the next one.